Good morning, Mets fans, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Driving with Mr. Met. I am Mr. Met, and I am not happy. Last night was not a fun game, as most games in Atlanta seem to be anymore. No fun for Mets fans. The Mets lost 8-2. And the score doesn't really do justice to the game itself. The game was actually a lot tighter and closer than it ended up looking in the final tally, with the Braves scoring the majority of their runs in the off the bullpen, even though Zach Wheeler gets charged with them. It was not a fun game, and I want to talk about it today, talk about the series wrapping up, and where we go from here. After last night's loss, the Mets fall to 7 games under 500. I looked at the Sunday night game against the Yankees, winning that last game of the series, as a turning point. To sort of use this as the launch pad for another winning streak. But I've got to start facing reality. And the reality is that right now, this is not a good baseball team. It's just not. They're not fun to watch. As a fan, we are just waiting for the other shoe to drop constantly. As a fan, when we're winning, we are just waiting for the next goat out of the bullpen to ruin that lead and give it away. And last night was no different. Last night the Mets, Zach Wheeler pitched very well. Again, his line is not going to look like he did. He was charged with 6 of those runs that came across the plate through 6 innings. So his ERA is going to go back up. But he pitched well enough, certainly, to keep the Mets in the game. And at a certain point in the game, the Mets were winning 2-1. And we can talk about and address the team's failure to capitalize on opportunities, which they've done in droves, getting 2 runs when they should get 4. And I'm not saying they're content with that. It's what's happening. And last night Jay Bruce drove in the 2 runs for the Mets, and he had actually a very good game in the field. But 2 runs aren't enough. Not against the best scoring team in all of baseball. Not against the Braves offense. Mike Foltynewicz kept the Mets off balance last night, but they were able to score on him. And they weren't able to score on him. Sorry, he pitched 5 scoreless innings. They were able to score off the bullpen. But they were able to score, and they were able to have a lead. And that's been the story of this season. They've been in almost every single game. And it makes it that much harder to watch, because with just 1 or 2 breaks in the right direction, we're not having this sad sack conversation every day. But yet here we are. Last night, the Braves center fielder Ender Enciarte, who is like the thorn in the side of the Mets constantly. This guy just always kills the Mets. Always. Whether it's with his glove or with his bullshit little dink hits that he gets, where he just perfectly places a bloop twice last night to extend innings and to keep rallies alive. And as pissed as I get about it, that's what good teams do. And the Mets don't do that. What are we going to do? Is it too much to ask that the Mets figure something out? That the Mets tell Michael Conforto, hey, Mike, we appreciate that you think you're going to do best here with the major league team, but you're hurting the team right now. And he needs to not be in a position where he can hurt the team. And he's not hitting. I mean, his batting average is under 220 now for the season. That's not good. And it isn't like we can look at it and say, well, he's going to break out. He's showing signs. He's not. He looks lost at the plate. His approach is terrible. I don't know what it is. They were talking on the broadcast last night about Maybe he came back too soon from his injury. Maybe he wasn't ready to return when he did. I don't know. We're not going to know that because he did return when he did. And, of course, in his first game, he hits that opposite field home run off of Strasburg, and we're like, yeah, Conforto's back. He's picking up right where he left off in his All-Star year last year. No. Not so much. Conforto is one of many players who is underperforming on this Mets team. And there's no end in sight for me. And what are you going to do? You got to fire the coaching staff? I mean, of course, that's what Mets Twitter wants to do. Fire everybody. Fire Mickey Callaway. He doesn't show enough fire. Well, what does Mickey Callaway do last night? He gets himself ejected from the game after Brandon Nimmo rightfully, was not awarded first base after he was hit by a pitch that he really wasn't hit by, that he ran into or leaned into. He definitely chase out-lead that one, and he ended up walking anyway. But, Callaway shows some fire. He gets himself ejected. The team immediately responds. Jay Bruce driving in those 2 runs. But it didn't matter because the team is not good. And Paul Sewald, for as good as he was last year, he's not good this year. Jerry Blevins, for as good as he was last year, he is not good this year. And I'm tired of watching the same not good players trotted out there night after night and expecting things to be different. Because that's the definition of insanity. It is time for the Mets to do more than just releasing Adrian Gonzalez, who, by the way, if you didn't see it, posted a really nice video on Twitter, really classy video. Doesn't owe anything to the Mets or its fans, but still went out of his way to thank the fans and thank the team for the opportunity. I don't know that he was correctly released. I don't know that he, was the culprit for this team's slide. But I do give credit for the fact that they're trying something different. To have Gonzalez released and DFA'd, unconditionally released, and to have Dom Smith take his place on the roster, maybe that was just a move to promote Peter Alonso to AAA. We don't really know. That will probably happen, but regardless, Dom Smith is a different bat. And Ron Darling said it in the broadcast last night. He said, bringing up new blood, new guys, doesn't matter who they are, they haven't been dealing with this frustration that the rest of the team has been dealing with. And maybe that fresh take is all the team needs. And that was sort of what Ron was suggesting. I don't know. I can say that Dom looks to be in much better shape than he was last year in his debut. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight and he's kept the weight off. He looks really athletic. He looks good. His AAA numbers, however, are not good. He wasn't hitting in Vegas. Certainly wasn't hitting for power in the hitter-friendly PCL. But he's a different bat and a different person, and maybe he'll make a difference. Ty Kelly came up with him. Jose Lobaton DFA'd again. And, maybe Ty Kelly, same deal, different face, different body. I think most of us would have preferred to see Jeff McNeil get the shot, because we've seen Ty Kelly, we know what he is, and more importantly, we know what he isn't. Jeff McNeil, on the other hand, has been red hot in the minors. He's had a great season so far. I would have preferred to see Jeff McNeil get the call up, but, whatever. Neither Kelly nor McNeil are going to make a difference in the scheme of things. The point to this is that I think it's time to start doing this with the pitching staff, and more importantly with the bullpen, because the starting pitching, as I said the other day, has more than done its job. More than done its job. It's time for the bullpen to do its job. You can't look at Robert Gesellman. You can't look at Seth Lugo. Those guys have been phenomenal. Phenomenal. Gesellman is turning himself into a potential closer. And that's good, because the Mets do not have the depth there, and this is Familia's walk year. He was a free agent after this season. And, for all of the good memories I have of Familia, I have just as many bad ones. And I'm keen on the idea of exploring another guy to close for this team. instead of Familia, even when Familia returns from the DL. And why not let Gazelman have a shot at it? What could be worse? I mean, it isn't like we're winning games now. So, as you can tell, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm confused. I don't know how to stop the bleeding. I made a comment last night on Twitter that was responded to pretty funny response to a comment I made. I said Mickey Callaway showing some fire. It's about time, something like that. And someone had responded, so did the Titanic when it was sinking. And it's true. It was on fire as it sunk. So the Mets are on fire right now, and they're sinking. And I don't know that there's an answer. I certainly don't have one. I do know that Jacob deGrom pitches today, so I mean that's a relief. deGrom during the day is as money as any pitcher can be. Me having said that, and I'm sure Gary Cohen will say it about 19 times before the game starts, Jake will probably throw a clunker today and whatever. After the Mets wrap up in Atlanta, they do go off to Colorado to extend this road trip. It's not an easy stretch right now for the Mets, and they need to right this ship. They have got to get to 500 or close to it by the end of this month, and I don't know how that happens. Syndergaard's getting a second opinion on his finger. Cespedes' timetable to return is NA. So things are not good right now, and I don't know that they're going to change anytime soon. So how's that for my positive Wednesday take on where things stand with the Mets? Happy Hump Day. 12:30 or 12:10 or 12:05 start this afternoon for the Mets. Let's just hope that deGrom can beat the deGrom that he's been all year and put this whole team on his back and carry them as far as he possibly can. And let's be honest, he's been doing that all season long, and the team has repaid him with nothing. They have repaid him with nothing, and it's about time that they repay him with something. So hopefully the Mets can put together a performance today that isn't quite as embarrassing as it's been over the last month and a half. That'll wrap it up. I'll be back tomorrow to recap today's Bravos game and talk about the upcoming series with the Rockies. So until then, I appreciate your watching and thank you. Follow me on Twitter at Mr_Met. And as always, let's go Mets.